All right, let's take a look at number 15. All right, so write the equation of the line passing through the point 3, -2, that's parallel to 3x plus 4y equals 7. All right, so there's a lot of different ways to do this. So let me go ahead and write down the point slope formula. Okay. So what we're going to do is we are going to substitute this ordered pair in for the x1 and the y1. So we have y minus -2, and then we have x minus 3. Now you'll notice I haven't put the m in yet because I don't have the m. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at this other line. Now what we want to do is we want to be parallel to this line. So remember, if you draw some parallel lines, you can clearly see that these two lines have the same amount of slope. They're slanting the same degree, right? So parallel lines have the same slope. So if I could find this line's slope, then I know that this line will have the same slope. So the next thing we need to ask ourselves is, well, how do we find the slope of the blue line? If we can get it into y equals mx plus b, if we can get the y by itself, then we know that the slope will be the number in front of the x. So let's go ahead and do that. So we're going to move the 3x over to the other side, changing its sign. So it will be negative. And then we got to get rid of the 4. So we end up with y equals -3/4 x plus 7/4. Now the number that we're looking for is the number in front of the x, and we're going to keep it the same because parallel lines have the same slope. So we're going to go and we're going to substitute that -3/4 in right there. All right, so here we have y minus a negative, so that's going to become a plus. And we have -3/4 times x, just -3/4 x. So now we have to do -3/4, -3/4 times -3/1. So a negative times a negative equals a positive. 3 times 3 is 9. 4 times 1 is 4. So it looks like we're going to have a plus 9/4 on the back end. If you're terrible with fractions, then you just pull out the calculator and do it for you. Negative fraction 3/4 times -3/4. Those are 9/4. All right, and the last thing that we have to do is just subtract 2 from both sides. So we have y equals -3/4 x. And so now we have to do, let's do it over here, 9/4 take away 2/1. So you have to have common denominators if you're going to subtract fractions. So that's why I decided to multiply by 4 to the top and the bottom. So I'm really taking away 8/4. So 9 minus 8 is 1, so we get 1/4. That's going to be a plus 1/4. Now, if you want to use your calculator, we're going to do 9/4, right arrow to get out, minus 2. And there's our 1/4. So we have just found the line that is parallel. Oops. Now we have to go in and we have to find the line that is perpendicular. So remember that our slope was -3/4. Parallel lines, you keep it the same. But for perpendicular, you have to flip it and change the sign. So instead of 3/4, 4/3, instead of negative, it's going to be positive. So that's the m that we're going to use. And we're still going to use, this is our x1 and this is our y1. We're still going to use that same formula. Okay. So, and we already know that it's going to be y minus -2. We said minus a negative becomes a plus. But now we're going to use 4/3 for our slope. And then don't forget that 3 is the x1, so -3. So the only thing that's changed is this. When you go back to the other slide, right? We have y plus 2. Well, I guess some more has changed after we distribute, right? Oops, wrong way. All right. So we're going to go ahead and distribute y plus 2 And this is nice. When we take 4/3 and we multiply it by a -3/1, these 3's can cross off. So we have a 4 and a -1 really is what that is. These technically become 1, you guys. When you 3 divided by 3 is 1, 3 divided by 3 is 1. So 4 times -1 is -4, and 1 times 1 is 1. And -4 divided by 1 is just -4. Remember that 1 in the denominator doesn't matter. So it's super nice that these like 3's go away. So that gives us a whole number. Yay for whole numbers. All right. So takeaway 2. Let's see what we got. Those cancel. And the nice thing about this is you can check. Sorry, I have like a million screens open, but let's say we open up GeoGebra. Okay. And we go ahead and graph. I mean, we can use Desmos, whatever you feel like, right? The very first line that we had was this 3x plus 4y equals 7. 3x plus 4y equals 7. And the point that we hope that it passes through is 3, -2. Now, the very first line that we had was supposed to be parallel. So -3/4 and plus 1/4. Okay, let me type that in. That looks great. It passed through the point and it's definitely parallel. Now, the second line that we got, that is 4/3 for the slope, is perfect too. Look, remember, perpendicular means it makes a right angle. It makes 90 degrees. It doesn't get any better than that. And it also went through the point. So that's one way to check, you know, before you go to MyMathLab, maybe you're on your final attempt and you're like, is this right? You know, I just want to make sure I got this fraction right. You can always plug it in to see if it looks good. Now let me go put these in here. And the other one that we got was y equals the third x times. Perfect. All right, so hopefully this helps you out with this really hard problem, number 15. Thanks for joining me.